listening to Strange Shit Happens.
From the great American Pacific Northwest, greetings and welcome, my friends, to this week's edition of Strange Shit Happens in the News. I'm Sean Wharton. This week we take a deep dive into a series of stories that blend ancient legend, modern mystery, and a sprinkle of the extraordinary. We begin with a declassified CIA report this week that tells us a little bit about a Soviet-era event involving UFOs, aliens, and having a rather chilling outcome. Then we head to Stephenville, Texas, where a group of Tarleton State students are turning the town's infamous 2008 UFO sighting into a live stage performance, blending first-hand witness accounts with theatrical flair. From Texas to Scotland, we revisit the legend of Loch Ness Monster, this time through the lens of a camera trap lost underwater for 55 years and recently recovered by a submersible. What the images show isn't necessarily proof of Nessie, but it's a time capsule from a dedicated monster hunting era nonetheless. And it's also not disproving it. Next, we head underground, possibly very far underground, beneath the pyramids of Giza, where a controversial satellite radar study claims to have detected what could be an ancient subterranean city. But archaeologists are claiming it could be just fake news. Finally, we wrap with a creepy nighttime video from a cemetery in Argentina where a worker hears ghostly sobs, but finds no one there, except perhaps a shadow lurking behind a cross. It's a globe-trotting lineup of mysteries, sightings, and spine-tingling lore you won't want to miss. Now, before we get to the news, don't forget to like or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on, or pass this podcast on to spread the word about our show here. You can also find us on X at strange_happens. We post news throughout the week, so follow us to stay on the top of the latest there. And we're also looking for stories from you, paranormal or otherwise. So visit us at www.strangeshithappens.com. That's strangeshithappens.com, and just click the report an event button right there on the main page. You can report your event, whether it's a UFO sighting or some other strange occurrence, right there, main page of the website. And you can also leave us an audio message in your submission. It's built right into the form. So whether you want to talk or type, whatever form of delivery you want to send us your story on or in, you're welcome to do so. So again, save it to your bookmarks, visit strangeshithappens.com and give us a holler. And with that, let's jump right into the news. A declassified CIA document is reigniting debate over one of the most bizarre and chilling tales in UFO history: an alleged alien retaliation in Soviet-era Siberia that reportedly turned 23 soldiers into stone. According to the file, originally unearthed after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Soviet forces shot down a low-flying UFO during a military training exercise in the late 1980s. What followed, according to surviving witnesses, was a surreal nightmare. 5 small humanoid beings emerged from the wreckage, gathered together, and morphed into a single glowing sphere that detonated into a brilliant burst of energy, instantly petrifying the soldiers. The 2 soldiers, shielded in the shadows, described the event as an explosion of light and heat that transformed living tissue into something resembling limestone. CIA officials described the encounter as a horrific picture of a revenge, and even noted the alien energy source was still unknown to Earthlings. The beings were said to match the description of the Greys, that classic alien figure with a large head and dark eyes, whose presence has long been reported in UFO sightings, including even the infamous Roswell crash. Skeptics, of course, dismiss the incident as Cold War-era myth-making, but for those who do believe, this haunting account is further evidence that extraterrestrial visitors may not only be watching, but are capable of defending themselves in extraordinary and, quite frankly, terrifying ways. Back in 2008, the skies above Stephenville, Texas, lit up with something strange. UFOs, specifically, witnessed by dozens of residents, including a local pilot whose story made national headlines at the time. Now, nearly 2 decades later, students at Tarleton State University have turned those sightings into something potentially even stranger: a play. Lights Over Stephenville, a student-created production, draws on interviews with locals who saw the mysterious lights, including accounts gathered from local haunts like Fuzzy's Tacos and Jake and Dorothy's Cafe. One key thread of the play follows a local reporter whose coverage of the event gained international attention and allegedly cost her her job, her laptop, and all of her notes. Directed by theater professor Dan Stone, this show actually runs April 10th through the 13th, if you happen to be in the area and want to check it out, with tickets available now. Whether you believe in little green men or just enjoy a well-lit mystery, this small-town story might just be worth a big night out. Back in 1970, scientists dropped an underwater camera into the dark depths of Scotland's Loch Ness in hopes of catching a glimpse of its most elusive resident. Then, like Nessie herself, the camera vanished. Until now. Over half a century later, thanks to the not-so-stealthy submersible Boaty McBoatface, apparently, the long-lost camera was accidentally rediscovered 180 meters below the surface, still sealed, still dry, and miraculously still loaded with film. The Instamatic trap, triggered by bait, managed to snap 4 photos before slipping into legend. The images have now been developed, and while there's no definitive monster lurking in the frames, the recovery itself is a monster-level find for Nessie hunters. The film and camera will go on display at the Loch Ness Center, where believers and skeptics alike can squint at the grainy images and whisper, "Is that a shadow? Or something more? Or nothing at all? I don't know." As for Nessie, well, she remains perfectly unbothered, presumably still photobombing sonar blips from the deep. A team of researchers from Italy and Scotland say they've uncovered something extraordinary beneath Egypt's Pyramid of Khafre, what they claim may be the legendary Halls of Amenti, or a vast underground city hidden for millennia. Using satellite radar 420 miles above Earth, the Khafre project team revealed 5 internal rooms, 8 mysterious vertical shafts, and what they describe as a massive spiral-shaped infrastructure extending thousands of feet below ground. The researchers created a 3D model showing what they believe are man-made chambers and tunnels beneath the iconic Giza Plateau, leading to dramatic speculation about Egypt's mythical underworld. However, not everyone's buying the hype. Famed archaeologist Dr. Zahi Hawass was quick to dismiss the findings as, quote, completely wrong and fake news, criticizing the lack of peer review and scientific validation. Well, whether it's the future of exploration or just another modern-day pyramid scheme, one thing's for sure, this story has reignited the imagination of myth hunters and mystery lovers alike. And in Santo Tome, Argentina, a cemetery worker making nightly rounds at the local graveyard heard something bone-chilling, the distant sound of someone crying. Armed with only a flashlight and a phone, he recorded the eerie moment as the faint wails echoed through the tombstones. But no one appeared to be there. In the footage, a shadowy figure does briefly seem to move behind a large cross, but it's unclear whether it was a person, a trick of light, or something less explainable. The worker cautiously searched for the source of the sound, which continued as he moved through the cemetery. While some viewers online were quick to suggest paranormal activity, others had more of a, humorous or perhaps realistic take, joking that the crying was actually somebody mourning from a recent loss. Perhaps. But whether a ghostly encounter or a late-night prank, the clip has stirred up the usual mix of chills, skepticism, and memes. Still, one thing's clear: late-night shifts at a cemetery come with more than just the silence. And we've really kind of heard that over the last, few weeks. We've heard people encountering these odd noises and entities late at night on jobs where it's just themselves working. Well, that's it. That's all I've got for this week. Don't forget to reach out if you see something unusual in the sky or someplace else, or if you happen to have an interesting story to tell. We would love to hear from you. You can reach us at strangeshithappens.com. Please like or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on, or pass this podcast on to spread the word about our little show here. And until next time, keep your eyes to the sky and know that here on Earth and in the universe, we are not alone. For Strange Shit Happens in the News, I'm Sean Warden.
Weird